Okay, I'm going to look at merit and demerit goods here, and we need to remember that the key concept is that when we try to value this good that we are consuming as a consumer, we do not know the true value of it. And so we don't realise perhaps how good this particular good is or how bad this particular good is. And the reason for this is usually poor information, that we can't really value the benefit that we're going to get from it truly because we don't have the right sort of information. It can also, though, be as a consequence of, say, persuasive advertising. So remember that some advertising is good because it can inform us of the value of the good, but quite often advertising can persuade us to buy the good when we really don't get the right sort of benefit from it. So examples of this would be, brushing your teeth, for example, where we think it might be of a certain value to us, but actually it's much better value, it's a higher value to us. Another one would be if we decided to drink heavily, then we think we're getting a certain value, but we have no idea what it's doing to our liver. And so when we look at this, we need to see a good definition, which is a merit good is when the actual or the true benefit of the consumption is higher than the perceived benefit. The perceived meaning, the supposed benefit, the alleged benefit, what we think the benefit's going to be. So an example would be that we think the benefit is only going to be £4 from brushing our teeth, for example, and it's actually £6. A demerit good, on the other hand, occurs when the actual benefit is lower than what we think it's going to be. So in this case, our perceived benefit is £9. We think we're getting £9 benefit from having an alcoholic drink, when actually the benefit is only £5. Now, if we look at the actual market for this, consumers, remember, will undervalue these goods. And so what we have to do is we have to see that the actual benefit is going to be more than the perceived benefit, and we need to draw two demand curves. The first one here is the perceived benefit, and it's showing the marginal benefit that we perceive that we will receive from the good in the marketplace. And the question is, what happens if we consume quantity Q0? Well, we think our benefit is going to be only £4, but there's another demand curve which actually shows us the actual benefit, and the actual benefit to us is much higher, and the actual benefit might be across here £6. With the demerit good, it's exactly the same, but it's going to be the opposite, if you like. The consumer overvalues those goods. They think that it's going to be better for them than it actually is. And so again here, when we draw the demand curve, we think this is our benefit, this is the perceived benefit, and we say drop our line to the quantity axis and we think we're getting, let's say, £9 worth of benefit. But the actual benefit is lower all the time. And so if we came up from the quantity there, we would go across to the price axis and we'd be measuring it at £5 of actual benefit. So I thought I was getting £9 of benefit, but I'm only actually getting £5 of benefit. Okay, now remember, when it comes to merit and demerit, we have to make these value judgments. These are called value judgments. And there's a difference between what we call a normative statement, which is a matter of opinion, and a positive statement. And positive statements can be measured by scientific evidence. So, for example, you might look at something like alcohol is not good for you, or we should be eating 5 a day. And these are matters of opinion, so they're not scientifically measured always statements, and it's better to stick to these positive measurable statements. Now, how does this affect the actual market? So if we look at a merit good and we put in our supply curve, then we would see that the market is going to produce where that supply is equal to the perceived benefit. In other words, the consumer is always going to be willing to pay what his perceived benefit is. And so we go to the point where supply and the perceived benefit is equal to give us our quantity in the market. But the efficient point is really where the supply and the actual benefit are equal, and they should be up here at a point called Q star. Exactly the same for, or we need to ask ourselves, why is this a problem in the market? And the problem is that at QM, the actual benefit that we are receiving is higher than the cost of using up the scarce factors. So if you look at this point QM, we'll see that there's a difference between the cost of using up the scarce factors, let's say it's £5, that's taken from the supply curve, remember, and then the actual benefit, which is £8. And therefore, if we're going to produce more, then the welfare would be rising. So every time we produce one more, the actual benefit is greater than the marginal cost of using up the scarce factors. And we go right up here to the equilibrium point here, and this point is where we have what we call allocative efficiency. So the problem in the market here is that we have underproduced this particular good, and the market should have gone on and produced a level of Q star.